The agendas of this opportunity day, the first opportunity day of 2024, we will discuss the overview of the company last year performance and the strategy for this year. About the brief of Ubis, our company, we have existed for over 40 years. We create more than 10,000 tons of products, and for the past few years, we average around $1 billion turnover of revenue, and we have over 620 variation of products. There are two main products. The first products are sealants, and here we show a good illustration of the sealants that we create and being applied to the products, the end products of metal packaging. We create water-based sealant compounds where they are applied to canning lines and ends making lines. And another segment of our products are PVC plastisol, where we apply PVC on the caps and closures. The other main segment of our products are coatings. And for coatings, we have all three key segments of coatings. For food and beverage, these are food contact and specialized coatings. As you see here, these are the illustration of the products. The next is general lines. Aerosols, these are non-food, they are spray can, the big drums and pails, and they are all non-specialized, non-specific, they are non-food cans. And these are more of the auxiliary coatings products, where they are coatings in internal tubes, external tubes, the closures, and well, we have explained a little bit on the closure side of the sealants. These are bundling products where we coat the external and the internal of closures, and we also apply PVC plastisol to the closures. Here's an overview of the business map of Ubis. We have over 32 countries around the world as our customers. We sell to all the continent aside from North America. Recently, we have a good volume and new opportunity in Mexico, so we also are entering into Central American market. The significant events are, for the past years, we create another holding company to focus on diversification and investment in other businesses that both involve and outside of the metal packaging businesses. And here's the performance of the last year. As mentioned previously, in each quarters of 2023, there are many changes and many world events that leads to the changes and the impacts to our revenues. So of over 1 billion Thai baht of revenue from 2022 have decreases over 15% to a number of 888 million Thai baht. And these are due to many factors. The factors mainly comes from the changes in consuming power or purchasing power around the world. The rate of consumption, the rate of productions have decreased drastically around the world. And we see a trend since 2022, the later half year of 2022, we see a decline, and the whole 2023, we see a drastic change of orders and drastic change of demands from Asia, and especially in domestic market in Thailand. On the other hand, we see a promising sign of gross profit margin changes. What happened during the COVID situation, we see a jump in raw material costs. We see 50% to 200% of raw material jump cost, which heavily affect our gross profit margin ever since later half of the 2022. And now we're seeing a good sign of coming back to a better cost and coming back to what have previously been ever since before the COVID situation. The performance we separate into three main areas. We segregate into domestic in Thailand, in China, and the rest of the world. We see the biggest drop of demands and biggest drop of sales in domestic market, over 25%, which equate to over 80 million bahts of losses. In China, we see 10%, and in export, we see 11%. And we could say that both in China and export, we outperformed the drops. What happened was the majority of the world have a lesser consumption and lesser production of more than 15%. And we were able to capture markets of new opportunities, and which leads to an outperforming result of less than the better performing drops. Here's a consolidated performance of last year. The total revenue is 888. The gross profit margin is 194 million baht, and we have a net loss of over 74 million baht. And this huge amount of net loss comes from a claim case during COVID pandemic. And these were realized and were finalized in 2023, which leads to a bigger net loss than 2022. Despite seeing a good performance, despite seeing a better profit margin by the end of last year, we performed worse than 2022 due to one singular case that leads to a claim of over 39 million baht. It's a one-time item payment, which is the first in 40 years of operation. And we have multiple countermeasures, multiple preventive measures implemented to ensure that we do not have any of these one-time items anymore. Moving on to balance sheet. Here's our assets, liabilities, and equities. We would like to focus on the asset part where the cash and account receivable takes the majority part of the assets. While on the liability and equities, we have a clear ratio of net debt equity of 0.64. price book value of 0.89, and a book value of 2.2 baht. And the highlights are we have better management of account receivable, inventory management, and the liability of short-term loans. We have fulfilled the obligation, and the account payable have decreases by 25 million baht. And due to the net loss of the end of last year, we have a decrease of retained earnings of over 79 million baht. The highlight to our operation, we would like to ensure everyone who are listening to this opportunity today, despite the big net loss, we are operating at a net positive cash flow. We want to ensure you that the one-time item that create this distinct loss does not affect the operational part and the stability of the business. We look forward to seeing even better inventory management and account receivable management to ensure that we have the best net cash and an improvement in net cash to ensure that it will support any kind of growth, policy changes to manage raw materials, and so on. To the final part of the strategy of this year. The overview from having over 1 billion Thai baht sales in 2022 down to 888 last year, we look forward to the investment that for the past 5 years we have invested into new products and new opportunities, both that can be commercial in domestic markets and international markets. So we are looking at a growth of 24% from 888 to 1100 million baht. And these are strictly in packaging markets. We are looking at, well, for instance, we see a potential market of coatings market and sealants market in Thailand itself of over 5 billion Thai baht. And currently we only take around 200 to 300 of the market share, the 200 to 300 million bahts to the 5 billions. These are, we see a high potential of technology development to find a market fit inside the both domestic and international markets. To clarify on the opportunities, there's a trading department that we find opportunities from external partners. We also bring in new development of our new sealant compounds that can be commercial in Thailand, but especially in the Latin America and European markets. We look forward to this new development to find a marketing formation soon within this year. For compound existing to new customers, these are more or less developments that have been ongoing ever since our establishment for the past 40 years. Our compounds, we export outside of Thailand and we find new development of packaging, new developments of auxiliaries, parts of the manufacturing and the finished good itself that require continuous developments to ensure that these sealants and coatings are compatible with the new regulation, compatible with the new higher speed and more efficient machineries. So we are happy to see that our reach to the rest of the world, over 32 countries, have created an opportunity for our compounds to be ever better, to be ever compatible with all of the new requirements around the world. So we are hoping to see that these compounds are market ties to all of our customers, both domestic and international. For coating new products and coating improvement, these are the key components that will lead us from 888 to over 24% of growth to 1100 million baht. And these are, as mentioned, the potential of the packaging coatings market itself have a huge potential. And when we have a new development, we can quickly marketize and ensuring that these products can be best suited for the existing customers. So finally, 2024, we focus on regaining market share in domestic sales because we see a 25% drops and the revenue from new opportunity products. And the main strategy for 2024, we separate into 5 big parts, which concern on the financial, technological, products, customer, and standardized. For financial, we aim to expand existing products to new customers, which will essentially create more sales and revenues. Distributor agreements. These we have, since we commercialize, we mainly have a production in Thailand and China. So for distribution and marketing information around 32 countries and growing, we want to ensure that we can serve the best to the local customer, to localize the customers around the world. This means we have multiple agents and distributors, and we aim to have even more distributors around the world. And this strategy aims to create the best arrangement to ensure growth and also ensure and safeguard the legality and ensure the non-conflicts around the world. Increase efficiency of tax management. So we find gaps and find that we have rooms for improvements to ensure that we can have a good financial statement while also have the tax management efficiency and effectiveness. And we will cover more on the part where we recently acquired the BOI, or the Board of Investment scheme, that really incentivize companies like Ubis Asia that export of over 80 to 90% around the world to have an even better scheme for investment and better scheme for ensuring that we continue to export and grow. And lastly, to decrease cost of goods sold. These are the ever-growing and globalization of both the part where we source our raw materials and where the customers are looking forward to sourcing from Asia, which Thailand we position at a very good and very ideal position where the global are trending towards looking at cost, trending towards looking at securities of supply chains. We see multiple scenarios. And currently, we have this Red Sea crisis that creates a short supply chain from Europe to Asia or Asia back to Europe. And this truly create a disruption and a lot of times a breakdown in production in many of our customer line. And these are due to relying heavily on American, North Americans, and European sources. And to ensure the better serving and the better service to our customer, these trends really push us to have even better cost and sourcing mainly from Asia source. Moving on to technology, there are three keys technology that we focus on, the internal, or the back end of our companies, which is to standardize and bring in ERP system in the manufacturing processes in the whole 100% of all process to ensure we have track records, we have statistic, and we find new ways to process improve our backend paperless document. We see a growing use of technologies, growing use of devices to ensure that we don't waste on papers, we don't waste on stationaries, and we do transactions and communication through paperless and technological means. Finally, to centralized database. These really aims to support both paperless documentation and manufacturing processes to ensure that the decision makers and the data as a whole are easily accessed and ensuring that they have connections with each other to ensure the best decision-making process. For products, we separate into 4 key products for BPA and I, which stand for bisphenol A non-intended products. These are launches that for the past 10 years, the whole industry of food, especially metal packaging food, where we aim for the best human safety and the healthiest mean for packaging to move forward. And this is the products that we launched the last year, and this year we aim to fully utilize the marketing information to ensure growth and also ensure safety of consumers. PFAS free. These are a change from early 2023. These are the change where, well, specifically in technical terms, we deep dive into the wax part to make sure the wax components of the coatings where they ensure glossiness and shininess of the metal. And they move away from multiple sources of toxic chemicals, so we call in aggregates, which is PFAS free products. And we are happy to announce that we fully integrated these changes, and we are hoping to marketize these to all of our new customers and existing customers. Finally, number 3 and 4, the central supply and the shower head products. These are strictly compound sealant products. For central supplies, well, these are big customer system where in Thailand, we don't have the system. In Vietnam, they have the system, and a big chunk of volume and customers are in China. Excuse me. These are technological advancement of our compounds that will also be compatible with even more customers around the world. We see these in Russia, we see these in Mexico and Brazil. And once we are able to commercialize these firstly in Vietnam and China, we are hoping to also increase volume exports to Latin America and to Russia. Finally, for the shower head, well, this is a bit of a backward development. Well, back in the day, we see a history of metal packaging where the old technology originate from America and Europe. And these old technology, they do not have the efficiency or the high speed process. And when Ubis established, when this new technology of nozzle, we call it nozzle versus shower head, these nozzle, they were already established. So when the metal packaging established in Thailand and Asia as a whole, all of the production lines have switched entirely to nozzle, which is what we have commercialized, developed, and marketized for the past 40 years. We have this nozzle technologies. Meanwhile, the shower heads, which are only ever existed in America and Europe, these technologies are also an opportunity for us to commercialize too. So we have finally see an opportunities to backward development into the old technologies to ensure that compounds are also suitable for these customers. On the topic of customers, for customer agreements and MOQ 100%, this is more or less a standardization of the ever-changing and the ever-moving markets of this industry. We want to ensure that we have a clear agreement to both ensure that the one-time payment claim from last year do not ever happen again. And we want to ensure that we have a clear, distinct expectation and services between us and the customers. Price negotiation. Well, since we also see a change in raw material costs and we change in faces of our customers, we do find gaps to ensure that customer both have the best price and we both have the best price to ensure longevity and continuity of the business. On-time commitment. This is a standardization and we see room for improvement where we want to ensure that we both are able to service and also to fulfill the orders of our customers around the world. And we see that the improvement in technologies to connect the data points to ensure that once the data come in, they are quickly dispersed to the key persons to ensure that they make the fastest and most effective decisions. So this will ensure that we have lesser lead times and better management on inventories to ensure fulfillment. Build great relationship and build brand reputation. So previously, we may or may not have mentioned is that for compound sealants, especially, there are only 4 main companies that are widely accepted around the world. And once Ubis have stepped up into these categories of brand, we have a good chance and a good opportunity to ensure that our Thai product and produce are grown and marketized to all around the world using the brand of Ubis. Since this in this industry, there are not a lot of players. So to have Ubis brand as sealants compounds that are globally accepted, we have more opportunities to introduce other products as well, especially coatings. Finally, for standardization, we somewhat have a lot of points because we see rooms for improvement to improve service growth and profit making. So sales forecast accuracy. This mainly to contribute to fulfillment and ensuring that we don't have a dead stock. We manage inventory the best we could. So we look forward to getting in touch and getting close to our customer to best serve their needs in terms of volume, in terms of development, and in terms of suitability of the products. Setup of operations and the times. So since we have over 620 variation of products, we see rooms for improvement and standardization to ensure that we can predict the production times and we can ensure the quality. These are part of the incorporation of new technology to the process time and to the database of our backend. So this also contributes to reduce process time, smart efficiency process, and to move on to other part of what is globally accepted in this food contact, food additive, and the part of consumer markets that really concern about the consumer safety. We aim to have BRC. We aim to ensure that the PSM standard, which is the production safety management that are required by the industrial areas or industrial land within Thailand. For GB approval from China, from the global approval of a well-known brand such as Nestle and PepsiCo. And finally, the standardization of specification, since we are in the business of very specialized management of products, of materials, and of customers. So within these specialized products and chemicals components, we aim to create even more precise and accurate specification to ensure qualities and to ensure that our brands are strong in terms of stability and trustableness. Investment strategy. So for the past 5 years, we invest heavily in the R&D department to ensure that we keep up with the markets and we find new opportunities to the big market of metal packaging and outside of metal packaging. So of around 60 million Thai baht, we aim to invest into facilities. We aim to invest to many equipments and production lines, which are in line with the Thailand government and specifically the BOI scheme. So we have finally secured an investment scheme that will put us in a position to produce even more new products and even more existing products at an even better price to ensure that we continue to export and continue to contribute to Thailand. The rest are outside of equipment is the IT system. As aforementioned points, we aim to have our backend to ensure qualities and process time efficiency. On the sustainable strategy, we have 3 main strategies on economics, environment, and social. For economics, we aim for innovation and standardization, which will contribute to growth and also contribute to the efficiency of the manufacturing part within our factories. On the environmental part, we secure carbon footprints, data and statistics to ensure that we comply to the government policies. We want to ensure the responsibility of the management of the process, the product itself, and all the raw materials. So any waste disposal, water treatments, and mitigation of risk, these are all accounted and focused, as well as prioritized on, and these are all in alignment. We see almost 99.99% of uptime of these systems in our factories. And finally, for resource utilization, we want to ensure that over almost 200 of our employees have a clear direction and ensure that we continuously reiterate on these resource utilization to ensure that we don't have waste and we have a good statistic that will lead to both better environmental impacts as well as cost effectiveness. And for social, we focus on the workplace safety, employee well-being and satisfaction, CSR activities, and respect for human rights. So these are what the board and the ExCom has prioritized on. And the projects are, well, to say it frankly, we are also being incentivized by the BOI to do more of activity of CSR that will eventually lead to social impacts, while also leads to a better and more effective of production, because the BOI incentivizing these kind of investment. And to add on to these social, well, we focus on employee well-being, and we also aim to do more. We aim to create and to ensure that any talents in chemical fields have even more opportunities, and these are incentivized and also Ubis strategy to invest into public college and universities to have a good connection and have a co-development agreements and MOU with these universities to better branding Ubis Asia as a Thai company that create specialized chemical products, while also give opportunities for these students to have a better ideas of this segment of industry and these food context chemical products. And finally, will lead to more talents within Thailand itself and even more talents coming to Ubis to create growth and development. On the part of the final part of this presentation is the Ubis corporate governance. We have 3 parts of where we probably would like to present that we continuously 4 years in a row to have 5 CG stars issued by the market. The AGM score of 2023, we achieved the checklist at the level of 4 medals. And finally, the CAC, the training to the board of the directors and all employee of companies on anti-corruption policies. And these are in alignment of the Thai market and the government policies. Now we would like to move on to the question and answers, and we'll conclude this opportunity days on the first quarters. So it seems like there's no questions, and then we shall close this opportunity days. Thank you everyone for participating and all the stakeholders, and we are hoping to see you again for the next update for the next quarters. Thank you.